It's easy to take lighting for granted, but actually what they do is they really paint the picture. We set it up, we have the composition, all these things are figured out, but if you wouldn't have proper lighting, the images wouldn't look nice.
Once we've got everything assembled in the scene, it will be pitch black by default. So now we need to do lighting as you would in real life by placing light sources, and that's basically in most cases putting the sun in the sky.
We have to use a lot of natural lighting. It's mostly sun and weather conditions that you can use to support your story with. When it's a nice day and Zog is out flying, it's a blue sky, the sun is shining. And when he gets his golden stars, it's a beautiful sunset. When we have the fight between Zog and Gadabout, it's more overcast and a bit gloomy. So we're really trying to use the natural light to support the story.
We'll normally sort of reference color keys. So color keys are a nice place to work things out in 2D, to get the mood and time of day. And we would try and work very closely towards those. We'll normally have a briefing session with the directors, and from there we'll try and iron out what our game plan is for the sequence.
So Pearl's doctor montage really takes place over almost about a year. Let's say we wanted to create a sense of time passing. So each little segment is lit differently, and the lighting team could be really creative with that.
In that sequence specifically, we're jumping through sort of multiple times of day, which is quite a nice one to reference because we need to hit, different times of day, different moods, and the focus of each shot is different. We'll try and, throw in light sources for the windows. So we've got the sunlight coming through, streaming through a window, and some skylight coming through the other one. And we'll try and, in lighting, sort of get as much of that light onto the characters and what they're doing as possible, because that's where you want the audience to look. And once the directors are happy with it and we're happy with it, we will render out that final image and deliver that to comp.
Sarah and her team have the very, very tricky job of sort of bringing everything together. So all the different layers of information from the different departments. So the renders from lighting, the VFX, and often camera work that we couldn't afford to render. It's all sort of dropped on comp's lap, and it's the last port of call really before it goes off and becomes the final film.
Often the lighting artist can't achieve absolutely everything that the color key sort of is trying to inform. So what we'll try and do in comp is then sort of bridge that gap and make sure that that we're sort of hitting the color key or what the directors have envisioned.
When Madame Dragon's blowing a giant, fireball, incinerating the little dummy knight, that it feels like both she, the fire, and the dummy knight all live in the same space. And what the comp artists could do is sort of flicker the fire on and off, so it feels a bit like they're around a campfire or something like that. It brings the whole thing to life and gives it a different sort of quality to the atmosphere.
I think it's always nice to say you've worked on something with dragons and castles, and I think the thing that excites me the most is some of the sequences are quite dramatic. When you sort of you're throwing in that first sunlight and you're sort of trying to make it just catch the top of the tower and getting this mood, and from there you're just really happy to work on a shot like that.
There's something so satisfying about sort of being involved in that stage of the production that you get to sort of hand it off, and that's what it looks like. It's also very stressful, but it's very satisfying.